Look at this. Somebody come look at
Go to the back. Actually, I have a question.
Thanks, Karine. Could you confirm that Biden is having a telephone call with the Mexican leader, Lopez Obrador, tomorrow, and what the topics are?
Don't have a call to confirm at this time.
I'm gonna go throw up now.
Okay. And do you have any color about who else is going to be in the room for the debt ceiling negotiations tomorrow, and whether Biden will?
I wouldn't call it a debt ceiling negotiations. I would call it a conversation between the four leaders and the president.
Okay.
Will Biden speak after that meeting in any way to the
I don't
press?
have anything else to add on his schedule. As I mentioned, the conversation will happen at 4 p.m. tomorrow. It'll be in the Oval Office. There'll be a pool spray. It'll be the four leaders and the president.
Just them, or is anybody else?
That's all we have at the time. That's going to be at the moment. That's going to be in the meeting. Good, Aria.
Thank you. You just said this gun violence epidemic isn't happening anywhere else in the world.
The mass shootings.
Yeah, the mass shootings. I mean, in a country like Serbia, they had 2 mass shootings in 48 hours. Immediately, the government announced sweeping new legislation to disarm the country. It's the most powerful country in the world, and what we have, as you said, is executive orders, but mostly like statements and flags flying at half-mast. Is it a sense that it's not only frustration, but that there isn't anything more the president can do, and anything he would do would harm his campaign?
What's your last part of the question?
Great word.
Is this the sense that he's not speaking more about it because he feels there's nothing that can be done because Congress is not in a position to do anything, and that it wouldn't help if he went, more out and spoke more about this and engaged more about this?
Look. The president is asking for Congress to act because we need legislation. We need federal legislation to deal with this issue. And to your point, the president has taken action as president in taking executive action. More than 24, because he's taken this very seriously. More than any other president. Historic amount of actions. I think that should tell you how seriously this president takes it. I think that should show you how he has made this a priority. I think that also should show you that he sees this as an epidemic. Gun violence that's happening across the country, in our communities, in our schools. And
I don't know her name. What is it?
And he wants, and he's going to continue to call for Congress to put forth real legislation banning assault weapons, because we should not have weapons of war on the street. Making it tougher to make sure that guns doesn't get into the wrong hands. And so that's what the president's going to continue to call for. Obviously he takes this seriously. But he has said himself, I think Jeremy was saying this to me, he's limited in what he can do. He is. That's why Congress needs to take federal legislation. They need to take action on this. And so we're going to continue to call for it. Okay.
Karine, another question on the debt limit to follow Francesca. What should congressional leaders take from the fact that he's already scheduled this meeting on Wednesday to talk about the debt limit? Is he suggesting that he already believes that he's going to leave these talks without a solution, without a path to avoid default?
A one-word use.
No, what I was saying earlier before, I'm not going to get ahead of the conversation that they're going to have tomorrow. The president's going to be very clear, but the president's also going to lay out what House Republicans have put forth. Remember, there is this plan, this plan that's connected, should not be connected to the debt limit, but that they have connected, that's going to hurt American families make ends meet. Veterans program, healthcare programs, Meals on Wheels, those are real things that they're suggesting to cut 22%. So the president, of course, he's going to do what he always does and call that out. Nothing new, nothing different. They're going to have a conversation tomorrow. He's going to make clear where he stands on the Congress making sure that they do their job, do their constitutional duty. We'll see what happens.
Speech suggests that he thinks that they're not going to find a way to separate those two or to avoid default.
I'm not going to get ahead of a meeting that's scheduled for 4 p.m. tomorrow. I'm just not. I've been very clear what the president's going to do, what he's going to focus on, what he's going to make sure and make very loud and clear. What he said to you, he's going to say it to them in the Oval Office. Congress must do their job. They must take care of making sure that we do not default. We should not become a deadbeat nation. 78 times since 1960. 78 times since 1960. 3 times in the last administration, a Republican administration.
How ironic.
Go ahead, Anita.
Thanks. I have 2 foreign policy questions. First of all, the Taliban has agreed with China and Pakistan to extend the Belt and Road Initiative to Afghanistan, which potentially brings in billions of dollars in infrastructure projects to modernize Afghanistan, which I didn't know was the Taliban's vibe. How concerned is the administration about China's influence in Africa, and what can the U.S. do to counter this?
So we've always been very clear that we've certainly have had concerns, but we've been very clear that our movement, how we move forward with China, is through competition, not conflict. We're certainly not going to comment on conversations and relationships that other countries have with China. We're going to focus on how we're moving forward and how we're trying to make sure that we continue to be competitive, why the CHIPS and Science Act was so important. And we've shown our competition by bringing manufacturing jobs here, creating more than 800,000 manufacturing jobs, and that's going to be our focus. Clearly, we want to make sure that the lines of communication with China is open. I just laid that how important that is, but I'm not going to speak to other relationships that they have specifically with other countries and what deals have come out of that.
Quickly to Tehran, the government of Iran has hanged 2 men for quote-unquote blasphemy because of their social media posts. How does the administration see this, and do you think you might react to this, and if so, how?
So look, we always call out human rights violations. That is something that the president has conversations with leaders that he meets with, our allies and partners, and anyone else that he has conversations with heads of state. I have not spoken specifically to our team here about that particular incident. That is certainly devastating to hear, and just not going to get ahead of what I just said without talking to our teams.
Enough! Silence! I can't take this shit no more.